on our political leadership right now with the Ukraine war and Russia's unjustified and brutal aggression, with the Israel-Gaza conflict and other things. It's just, the reality is there's just not a lot of bandwidth in Washington for a lot of other issues.
But have just nice words. It's obvious that you were criticizing the government, and there were some, like Defender Europe suspended, some measures that were taken towards the government or government officials, some US visits before, because of this lack of, if I can call it, good communication?
We are hoping for a very close partnership. And obviously, as close partnerships become even closer, there's more person-to-person contact as well. That's about all I can say.
Better than the one we have now.
I will let you draw your own conclusions.
And also, Prime Minister Kurti is talking about the likelihood to have a conflict with Serbia. We heard him and also President Osmani talking about what Serbia is doing. So how safe is this region now? What is the U.S. stance on this issue?
Look, the United States is very, very focused on this region still. And as I said in other remarks and in this interview already, we feel like we've invested quite a lot in helping advance both Kosovo, but also regional stability, and that remains our goal. It is, it's clear that there are increased frictions. We are always concerned about flashpoints. We've been particularly concerned about the prospects for further unrest or threats to increased tensions in the north of Kosovo. But if I were a resident or citizen of Kosovo, I would be more confident than some of my predecessors in the past or some of my colleagues in other countries in the region now, because of one of the most meaningful security guarantees the United States can offer, and that's the direct presence of U.S. forces as part of the NATO force. I mean, Kosovo has KFOR here to help ensure security and stability and freedom of movement and a safe and secure environment. There's several thousand soldiers in that mission in Kosovo who do it every day and do it extraordinarily well. Within that, there are several hundred Americans. The commander of one of the two regional commands is a very experienced American Army officer. I think the people of Kosovo, as I've said before, they can sleep pretty well knowing that they have this presence here and that is ready to respond to threats to security and stability. Now, that doesn't mean you can be complacent, and it doesn't mean you can take it for granted. It means we want partnership to help establish a more secure, a more stable region. For Kosovo and Serbia, that does mean repositioning their relationship, working on this EU-facilitated dialogue path towards normalized relations, which will be to the benefit of both countries. Since I made that statement, let me just repeat one more thing I've said before, because I know this is important to the people of Kosovo. I think some people in Kosovo get worried when we say normalized relations, that this is something short of what is actually ultimately wanted. It isn't.
And I wanted to ask you that.
I'm happy to answer it. Because the U.S. position has been clear in a bipartisan way. The United States does believe the ultimate outcome of this process can only be eventual mutual recognition. I acknowledge that is not the view of both parties at this moment in time, but I can quite confidently express the view of the United States government on this point.
Thank you. And I know you're a football fan. We are watching Euro 24. So who's your favorite team? Who's your favorite player?
Oh, that's such an easy question. As you probably know, I'm a first-generation Dutch American. My father immigrated from Holland in 1951, and I grew up wearing orange during the World Cup and the Euros, and I continue to wear orange. I'm more conflicted in the World Cup when both the United States and the Netherlands play, and I hope they don't play each other until maybe a final. That would be a wonderful thing. But I'm all in for the Netherlands in this Euro. And of course, they had a pretty good game yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
Best luck to them.
Thank you.
Thank you for this interview.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
A pleasure always.